she's not here and I need to know what her lesson plan is for $7.
Sure thing. Okay. Hey, so SWBA students will be able to define and identify parallelograms and find measure 6.3. This is a lesson we started last week. We're going to finish up today here. So we talked through a lot of this. We said a parallelogram is what kind of shape?
A quadrilateral with both opposite sides.
Very good. A quadrilateral, a four-sided polygon, quadrilateral, that has both pairs of opposite sides parallel. Yes, I know. Okay? And we said we could, so we gave some examples of sides that were parallel, so like AB was parallel to CD, different things like that. And then we had these different theorems. What was our first theorem? Opposite
sides are congruent.
Opposite sides were congruent. Very good.
AB.
Okay? And what was our next thing? Opposite what are what?
We don't have
We
that.
don't have
We don't have that.
Oh, this is where we left off?
Wait, yes,
Okay.
we do.
No, we don't.
I have it. Oh, we
What?
have the first half.
Congrats.
AB, line AB is congruent to line
That's this part.
Yeah.
So we had this.
And then we don't have the second one.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
never
know.
do it in AB. We
Yeah,
just
the
wasted.
second
We just wasted a minute saying
Okay. So the next one we have is opposite
that.
angles are congruent.
Oh, okay.
A quadrilateral is a parallelogram if and only if opposite angles are congruent. So if we know the opposite angles are congruent, we automatically know that it's going to be a parallelogram. So even if we don't know anything else about this four-sided figure, other than the opposite angles are congruent, we can know that both opposite sides are parallel and both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Try to keep a lot of that. Here, phone. Okay. I thought maybe you had the other half. I thought you had a half. Typically, that's what happens. You guys split it up. So hold that out. I'll see if Rachel has the other half. Yeah.
Are these two different theorems or do they go together?
That's a great question. So M asks, are these two different theorems? Do they go together? They're different theorems. They're different theorems. They're both just about parallelograms, and they're both that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram if and only if setup. So somebody give me a pair of opposite angles that would be congruent.
Oh,
Max.
wait.
A and C.
Angle A and C, very good, and we can mark that with that arc. So we can say angle A is congruent to angle C. Very good, Max. Can I get somebody else to give me another pair? Sophia. Angle D is congruent to angle, try again. B, very good.
Oh, that's what I meant.
And how many arcs would we put here?
Two.
Two, right? Because we don't know if it's congruent to A and C. We just know they're congruent to each other. So once again, if you know you have a parallelogram, then you know that both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. If you have both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, you automatically know it's a parallelogram. It goes both ways. So on example 1 here, we're asked to find x and y. X is dealing with our angles and y is dealing with our sides. I want, what kind of shape do we have here?
Quadrilateral.
A quadrilateral more specifically.
Rectangle.
A parallelogram.
Parallelogram. How do you know it's a parallelogram?
Because
Sophia?
it has two sides that are both pair of opposite and they're parallel and
Okay.
opposite.
Okay, so both pairs of opposite sides, this pair of opposite sides across each other are parallel to each other. That's one arrow. And the other pair of opposite sides are parallel to each other by the two arrows. So it's a parallelogram. So what do we know about the sides of a parallelogram? What do you know about opposite sides of a parallelogram? They're congruent, okay? So we know this is congruent, and we know these are congruent, right? What do you know about opposite angles of a parallelogram? They're congruent as well. So here's congruent. What else would be congruent? What else would be congruent? This would be congruent, right? So could we set up some equations to solve for x and y now? If we know they're congruent. I want you guys to set up and solve for x and y. I want you guys to set up and solve for x and y, and then raise your hand if you have questions when you're done solving for both x and y here.
Oh, God. Finish their own stuff.
I just made you this
I'm so goofy.
Hi, so goofy.
So what would you do different equations? Or, so would it just be y minus
I need to know.
This is right.
I'm just kidding.
Kennedy, your socks. Sock? Yeah, she told me that in advisory and literally called her and I was like, what?
What she said?
That my sock was untied and I looked.
Oh yeah.
Your sock?
How do you
Or like when somebody says you dropped your pocket, I don't like
How would
that.
you solve that?
I don't
Numbers.
I can't pay on that one. Or when they go like this, or it's so hard not to look up.
That's what you
Yeah, I
do.
know.
God,
I'm like,
you're
what
telling
do you
us.
mean?
Yeah, no, right.
So
It's like so hard not to feel like.
What can we do with X's?
I've never had to do that.
Neither have I. But
How
I
would you set up our
just like when someone's pointing, you're just like, what? It's like when someone's like,
So here, what?
Here. and then there's not a here, but you're just like,
How do you know
So
that
this
it's
is
just
what's
a line?
this measure say? 2x, 2x.
What?
how do you know it's not Bambi's mother?
What?
Don't do Bambi like that.
What do you know about this?
It can't because I already shot it.
Yeah.
Still hanging up the wall.
How do you know it's not
Hey,
Bambi?
hey, make sure, has everyone's been checked yet? I'll be kind of looking up, if yours hasn't been checked, make sure you raise your hand, it's been, so I can check. Okay. Nick, you wanna help?
So if you don't know how to do it, look at it, raise your hand, I'll just help you.
Or I could.
Oh, you're helping me? I don't know how.
See, I want
So
to
what I
my
would
mom
do
and tell her
is
like I
because
accidentally got drunk or I got in a fight or something, but she knows
I
that
don't
really
know.
well.
I started being third.
Or like that I was vaping at school because we just had
So just do
discussion in
the
our house
opposite.
about that. But she knows me too well that like literally she offered me a drink once.
And then you get your
Like to try some different things. I'm like, no mom, that's alcohol. I can't drink that until I'm 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you drink with your
Bet. I know how to do
Yeah.
it.
And so
How do you can?
the rule is that like if you're in your like
If you're
if
safe.
your parents are the ones that give to like in your home, then
Oh, my mom gave me
other
a
than that,
My family only drinks Hennessy.
breeze.
Can I do the answer again?
it's okay. What? So you wanna help solve this?
It's like a bunch of disaster.
I like rum shot.
Could you imagine that?
What?
Wanna set up and solve one here?
I don't have anything.
Can I redeem myself?
Okay, well we need to set something up.
Okay.
You know how to set it up?
No. Nuh-uh.
Okay.
He told me to do this, so. Nick. Mr. Cochran.
Okay, so how do you?
He's gotta divide 64 by 10.
Okay, how do you know you have to divide by 2?
Oh, I know.
Ask Nick.
Sophia, how do you know you divide by 2?
Because the parallel angle is 2x. You wait, no. I'm getting ahead of myself. So first, actually, you would set it up as 64 equals 2x, and then you would divide 64 by 2 along with 2x.
Sophia, what equation did you set up?
64 equals 2x. 64 equals 2x.
Because
Told
those
you right
angles,
up there.
those two angles are congruent, so we can set them equal. Now when they're equal, how do we get x by itself? We divide by
2.
2, which is how we get 64 divided by 2. And so what is 32?
32 is the and what?
It is x.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
that's,
equals x?
I was really confused for a minute. What is 62?
Let's go ahead and simple that answer.
Good job, Lucy.
Okay, thank you. Stop in the back. Okay, stop in the back, Sophia. Okay, so now, can somebody help me set up the equation for y? Help me set up the equation for y. Abby.
Y minus 6 equals 12.
Okay, listen up. Y minus 6 is equal to 12. We know these two sides are congruent, so we can set them equal, just like we set up our congruent angles. So Kennedy, how would you solve from here?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. What do you divide?
No. So what operation is happening here?
Why would you put, well, you're subtracting.
So how do we undo that?
What?
That's not,
Divide it.
how do you undo division? How do you undo subtraction? What's the opposite of that?
Addition.
Addition. So we'll add What number? 6. We'll do that to both sides. And we say y ends up being what class? 18.
All you have to do is add 6.
So we did.
Well, left and right all of it.
Because you have to write the equation.
Because what if we did this with different numbers that were a little more complicated?
Yeah, Grace.
This is the way we need to set it up. Okay, but the calculator won't help you set it up. If you don't know how to set it up, that won't help you at all.
Booby,
What is it
not
called?
you!
Yes, Max.
Guess what?
Why is it
Chicken butt.
I'm moving to Utah this summer.
Really?
You're not gonna go here?
Like that.
Nope.
How dare you leave us?
We'll miss you. I might be the same.
Okay.
You can just fly back in your
Class.
plane.
Let's go right below this.
Not
We're
Listen
gonna
up.
be the same way.
Listen up.
Yeah, I'll fly back on my own.
Kennedy, yeah.
Never mind,
No,
it's a little off topic.
Okay.
It was just about Mrs. Olson.
Okay. So, we have another theorem. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then consecutive angles, consecutive means they're next to each other, are supplementary. Yep, it was up there for a second. What's supplementary mean?
Yeah, it's 180.
That's consecutive means. What does supplementary mean?
Add to 180.
Add up to 180. Okay, supplementary means they add up to 180. 180 degrees.
90 and 90.
Okay. So 90 and 90 could, but does it have to be 90 and 90?
No, it could be 180.
It could be 180.
Yeah.
It could be like 79 and 111. It could be or 101. Excuse me. It could be a bunch of different things.
How about
Yeah.
90 and 90?
It could be 1
Yeah.
and 170.
So- Somebody give me a pair of consecutive angles in this parallelogram. A pair of consecutive angles in this parallelogram. Sophia.
Angle D and angle C.
Angle D and angle C. So that means that the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle C would have to equal 180 degrees. Because as long as the quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then any two consecutive angles, angles that are next to each other, would add up to 180.
Nice.
Any two consecutive angles would add up to 180. On example 2, what kind of shape do we have?
Following
Parallelogram.
A parallelogram. How do we know it's a parallelogram?
Because it has two sides that are both equal and congruent and
Okay.
parallel.
But what are we told in the picture? Are we told anything about congruent in the picture?
Yes.
No.
Yes, the two marks. The two marks mean
What's those arrows mean?
oh, they're parallel.
Parallel.
I meant to say.
So we're told that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, so thus we have a parallelogram. A parallelogram. So I want you guys to try and find y and x using this theorem we just learned, and you might use one of those theorems we did right before it.
Okay,
So
well, I know the answer.
once you're done or have questions, I want you to raise your hand. Okay, I want everyone raising their hand once they're done, please, or if they have questions.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, you want to check?
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Gracie, come here.
Gracie, smartest
I need you here.
Grace, come on. No, help me.
Gracie, help me. Ask for it. Yeah. These are
We got you, Max. No one's yeah, this one.
No, this one equals 6.
Yeah.
So if there's supplementary add up to 1,
Grace, you have to
we know that D and C will add up to 1. Like 120. So 180 minus 120 is this one.
And then what's this one have to be? I don't know about the opposite.
Thank you.
We don't see. We did it. We did it.
And then
So, what are we told here about
A
opposite?
and B will equal to 180. So 60 plus 120 equals 180, right? So that means Y will equal 60.
So X and Y.
Yeah, I mean, this one, this one.
I'm done.
Overthinking things.
Most of the time I am, but some
Oh, yeah.
Hey, don't borrow.
Oh, yeah.
I go like this, they all hit you. Why? Just manage.
Okay. So, what would y be? 60. How do we know y would be 60?
120 plus 60 equals 180.
These are consecutive angles when they go from A to D or A to B. They're both y. Consecutive angles have to add up to 180. So you can take 180 minus 120, and oh yeah, you get 60. Okay, what do we know x is? 120 degrees. What's one way we can know that? Okay, because 60 and 120 have to add up to 180. What's another way we can know this is 120? A and C are congruent because they're opposite angles. So we can know it either way. Questions on those? The whoa. Okay. So let's go to the back. Okay. So if you don't have any questions on this, let's go to the back.
Yay, we did it.
Yeah. Oh, when's our test? My dudes, couple weeks. So won't be next week. Probably will be the week after.
You're the next.
Okay. So diagonals. We have on yours it says it right. A quadrilateral is a parallelogram. If and only if, thank you, Gracie. That's what that if means. If and only if diagonals bisect each other. If diagonals bisect each other, what's it mean to bisect? Blue. They cut through how? At the middle. So they cut each other in half. Very good. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. They cut each other in half. Okay? So what would segment AE be congruent to here? Sophia? Not B.
No,
CE.
Why do I keep doing that?
No. Okay. CE. So this one whole diagonal AC is cut in half, or bisected is our math word, by the other diagonal. And this diagonal BD is bisected by CA. Nick, you want to give us the other one?
DE and BE, does it matter the order of each? Or?
Good question. Does it matter which way we get listed line segment? No. And all these are just line segments. So we can do ED or DE. We can do BE or EB. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be E, it has to be last or anything like that. It happened to be that way, just the way it was said. But it could be either way. Blessing must raise on that. Good.
Sir, you don't even gotta do that math. What?
Why?
It's very. Never mind.
Good talk. Okay. So on example 13, I needed to put 2 arrows in here. That was a botch on Mr. Costa there. So add that second arrow in on the top and the bottom.
This whole worksheet in box?
No.
Do it my way.
Well, all of them you have to change the if instead of that. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's right on your guys's.
Mine's
Right
wrong
on
on yours.
yours. Okay, so
People make mistakes. He's not allowed to make mistakes.
Slightly bigger than you.
true. Okay. Hey, is this a diagonal?
Yeah.
Is this a diagonal? What kind of shape do we have?
Parallelogram.
Parallelogram. Okay. What do we know about the diagonals of a parallelogram?
That they bisect
They bisect each other. So here, that means this diagonal's cut in half, right? So what's an equation we could set up here?
Ooh, 12 times 2.
Not 12 times 2.
12 equals 3x plus 6.
12 equals 3x plus 6. Because this part of the diagonal will be equal to this part of the diagonal. Okay? I want you guys to finish solving for x, and then also set up the equation and solve for y. And once you're done, same format, raise your hand for it to be checked. Okay? I don't know, Mr. Carlson, it's you. Awesome. You want to check it, too? Okay, I was gonna say, I appreciate it. Yeah. So far, so good. Yep. Abby.
Gracie, you're overthinking. Just like
in that equation, it's 2y plus 9 equals 27.
Who's not? William G's.
Oh, never mind.
That's your annual growth rate.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. See, I understand. How do you?
I do my math wrong.
Okay.
Wait, how do I do this, right?
Oh, gotcha. Nick, bring him actually to like 2 minutes. Yeah. Because we're almost done with this section.
I heard Kobe started in.
Time to go into it. Alright. Yes. Abby. You want to do this?
If I do that one.
Can I do what? Half of it?
Earlier, I tried to tell my mom that I got beat up at school, and she said, that's totally believable.
I love that.
Jesus.
But what if you were to actually get beat up?
I'll start losing a
Alright.
fight. That's how I plot my
So-
business.
Hey, shh. So Abby finished this one off. Subtract the 6 from both sides. Get 3x is equal to 6. Then divide by 3 to get x
Can I
equals
do
2.
y?
Okay.
Wait, x equals
Okay,
2.
did you see one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
man, yeah.
Why?
Okay, I see what it is.
Oh my god.
We're only picking out the opposite there for that. Let's do
What?
this range on that.
Here's the
I'm not even thinking math, actually.
What was it your birthday? I picked off singer.
I don't know how to subtract.
You should have heard Miss Camus this morning.
what?
She going gamble
Ken,
sneezing?
those shoes are dope.
She was going what?
I know, I love
Gamble
them.
sneezing?
Thank you.
What was
She
she
literally sings like 6 hours.
Was it like rapid fire? Like,
How are you so
Yeah.
fast? If I make this, I don't know.
How
This
is
is
she?
I don't go in there.
How's yours so gross?
Cougar. There's a cougar behind you. It's a puma.
If I make this bottle, I'm about to do that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
if you miss it, you do double. Ooh.
There's
You're gonna make it all. You're gonna lose all.
It's on slant.
Wait, now she has double
I
up.
was
Yeah, I
gonna
just
say,
jumped-
I
just
kinda
started
love
off.
that.
I can't
It's
hold it
really
out.
looking off that regret.
I'm dabbing.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna try it.
What would you do if I eat?
You won't, it's not.
Yeah, it's not filled up with it, or filled up enough.
It's gonna be flat. Oh, it is already flat.
Okay.
Oh, I did a Y. I mean X.
Okay.
My
So,
bad.
so Kennedy, explain what you did.
Never mind. Is equal.
Hey, listen up, listen up.
Equals 27. And then I subtracted 9. This side. Got 18. And I divided 2. And 9.
Very good.
Oh,
Okay. Slap on the back. Slap on the back, Abby, for helping on the first one. Okay. Hey, questions on either of X and Y for this example? Okay, hey, if you look right below this, what's it say?
Parallelogram overview.
There you go, parallelogram overview. Okay, we're going to review our parallelogram a little bit real quick. Okay? So, opposite what are what? Somebody raise your hand. Tell me something you know about the parallelogram. Our first 3 are all opposite something or something. Nick, give me one thing.
Sides you congruent.
Okay? Opposite sides are congruent. So let's mark that on a parallelogram as well. Okay? Nathan, what's another thing we know about this parallelogram?
Angles are congruent.
Okay, opposite angles are congruent, so we can mark that as well.
I can never know if I'm spelling angles or angels.
That's why you just see the symbol. Okay?
Oh, snot.
Okay. Can somebody help me out with another thing we know about these parallelograms? Opposite what are what?
Thought we only had 2
Okay, Sophia?
Opposite No, that's consecutive.
What did our definition say?
Equilateral with both sides.
Opposite sides are parallel.
Opposite sides are parallel. That was in our definition. That's what the arrows represent, is parallel. So I put one set of arrows on the left and the right, two set of arrows on the top and bottom. P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L. Like a parallelogram for the O-gram.
I spelled that so wrong.
Or you can
Yeah,
use
you
those two slashes.
Angles are.
I added an extra.
Consecutive angles are not equal, but consecutive angles are supplementary. And I'm going to shorten that one down to S-U-P-P like we've done before. Sup. Okay. And we don't have any drawing that we can do on that. But what's that mean for it to be supplementary?
Add up to 180.
They add up to 180. Very good. Okay. And what do we know about these diagonals, Nathan? They bisect each other. Okay. And I can draw this on here as well. How many tick marks would I put from A to O? Thank you.
I said bizzle.
Fixed it. Okay. How many tick marks would I draw from A to O?
2, 3.
Well, 3. Why did you change it to 3, Lily? Let's see what's right now. Yeah, because we've already done 1 set and 2 sets. Now we can do 3 sets. And where else would I put 3 tick marks?
Across.
Very good. And where would I put 4 tick marks now?
B.
And very good. And this is all we know about a parallelogram. So we covered our parallelogram there, okay? Okay.
Jeez, so mean.
We pass out the homework anyway.
What? Can I get a word?
Okay, should I text her now?
Wait,
Okay.
Lily.
No, don't
No,
text her.
don't text her.
Why
Lily.
would you text her? Don't text her.
Should we not say April Fool's and just have her text you?
No, no.
You say April Fool's.
No, you gotta say April Fools.
No. You gotta wait until
Yeah.
Lily
I
texts her and
I
says
think
April
Mr. Costle should say, I'm an ISS or whatever, and then she'll say, are you kidding?
Her voice will be like,
And then Mr. Costle will say, she'll be in there for today and for the rest of the week. And then she'll have, or what could we say?
Lily, there's a meeting.
how hard is it?
Oh yeah, you should say there's gonna be a meeting today after tonight at 5 o'clock. Or just make it, you'll be fine. Just make
If you would like to come.
No, not if you'd like. Yeah.
No, it's a must.
And then
Tell us
And then
about it
after
from
she
the
talks,
record.
you'll give me a signal and say, and then I'm gonna say, you dumb big prank fool. And then I'll say,
Yeah.
Ah,
I got you.